Texas flag. So won't you join me? Please rise. In front of you, if you need the Texas pledge, you've got it in front of us. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And to the Texas flag, honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Might have to remind some of our elected officials. Indivisible. All right.
First order of business.
So let me make certain that we have a quorum by calling the roll. If you'll just answer present, if you would. Sergio Coronado.
Here.
Shane Haggerty.
Here.
Alfred Gonzalez.
Here.
Ruben Gonzalez.
Here.
Melody Jimenez.
Here.
Jack Loveridge.
Here.
Eduardo Mena.
Present.
And Jackie York is delayed. She'll be here hopefully, and I'm here as well. So guys, congratulations. We have almost everybody here. That's incredible. The first thing we do is we want to recognize staff who have been loyal and, yes, if you, thank you.
What I'd like to do real quick before we recognize staff is we do have a new board. January 1 is our new board, and we are very, very lucky. We have Jack Loveridge, was appointed through the nomination process and the election process. So was Mr. Coronado, Sergio Coronado, Shane Haggerty, and Ruben Gonzalez is on as the county tax assessor collector. He is now one of our members of the board. And of course, Jackie York, who'll be here in just a few minutes, was another one that was appointed through the nomination. Of course, our elected are Melanie
Jackie
Jimenez.
York actually represents the city, right?
No. What-
Jackie York.
They don't represent individuals anymore.
Oh,
They're
okay,
as a
yeah,
whole.
so appointed,
Yeah,
right,
as a
okay.
whole. But yes, she is, her and Tanny, and of course Tanny also, through the nominations and the elections from the entities. And then, of course, Mr. Gonzalez, Alfred Gonzalez, and Ed Mena, and Melanie Jimenez are elected. So here's our board as of January 1. So yay, here we go. Okay, thank you.
We're going to be together.
So one thing you new people will find is that people are very loyal to this organization. And we have people who have served on the Central Appraisal District staff for countless years, some for a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And today we have the special honor of celebrating 35 years. So if you'll join me up by the flags.
I'd like to introduce Raul Madrigal. Raul, he works under Rosa Goldman.
35 years.
Well, then stand up. You're going to get your picture taken. Would you take a picture?
Sergio was 14 years old.
Oh, you're here. Okay. Raul,
35 years. You started when you were 18?
to let everybody know, Raul is a fiscal clerk, too, with accounting department. He's the one that works with Rosa when we're putting our budget together. I know those of you that have been on the board for a while, I've seen him in here when we're doing our budget workshop and everything, and he makes all those changes for us. Works with Rosa, works payroll, works accounts receivable, I mean, pretty much everything, so. We couldn't do without him. This is the first 35. We expect him to be around for another 35, right, Rosa? Yeah, she's already told him he can't leave, so. But thank you, board members, for recognizing
So this is a sign of commitment and loyalty to service of the community of El Paso. Yeah, it's a job, sure, but more importantly, it serves the needs of the community of this great Southwest, the place that we live. So when someone's willing to give 35 years of service, they deserve special recognition. So let me read the certificate. It's a certificate of appreciation. This certificate is awarded to Raul Madrigal in recognition of 35 years of dedicated service to the El Paso Central Appraisal District. have to, it's when you're down on your knees.
I don't want to fall and then regress in my.
When you're praying on your knees.
Okay, guys.
All right. So we need to take an oath of office as board members. This is a public organization that we're part of. We have the judges here to issue our oath. You have it in front of you. Hopefully you've signed it. And if you would, I will yield to the judge.
Want us to sign it now?
Yeah, sign it right now. Sign it before he makes you swear on it.
You don't want to wait for the lady, or
Well,
Jackie?
we'll have to wait, because I
She
don't
said
know
it'd
when
be, she said it'd be 5 to 10
want to
minutes.
call her?
Well, there she is. Oh,
she- All you had to do, Judge, is you issued the order, she walked in.
They wanted to go up.
In 3
but I
years,
ignored
I've never been late.
She's never been
I
late,
know.
ever.
And I was
Except when her dad
freaking out.
would
Is this me?
Yes,
Sorry, guys.
All right, well, we're just ready to give you the oth of office. So you have to sign the oath that's in front of you.
Thank you.
Judge Gamboa, Honorable Judge Gamboa.
Wonderful judge.
Who's wonderful about coming in every year and doing this for us, for our board. Volunteered, I think after Cynthia begged, to get him to come back again this year. Thank you, Judge, we appreciate it.
Judge, you want us to rise? Or what do you want us to do?
When I give you the oath, yes. but not yet. Well, thank you for inviting me again. I don't know how many years I've been doing this, but at the end of 2006, I'm going to retire. So I'll do something else. I'm not going to stay at home, but it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. I am the statutory probate judge of the county of El Paso. There's 22 statutory probate judges in the state of Texas. You have to have a population of over 400,000 for the legislator to allow the city to set up a statutory probate court. We have 2 of them here, just Chu and myself. So it's been a pleasure, and I don't know if you know what the probate court does. The obvious one is when somebody passes away with or without a will. We also do guardianships. That's a big part of our docket for individuals that are born with disabilities, and when they get to be 18, they need a guardian. So the parents usually step in. Or Alzheimer's. So a lot of them, they don't have family. So we have a great organization here, Project Amistad, who is a community-based nonprofit, and they handle all of our guardianships that are we can't find anybody. They either don't have somebody to take care of them because of their age, 90-some odd years old, 80-some, they don't have any more family, or families just can't take care of them. So we have an indigent program, and the county picks up the cost, and we monitor those guardianships on a yearly basis, like my court does. And guardianships of the estate, those are, I have to put a bond, so that makes sure that the guardian doesn't steal the money, basically. And then we also have a courtroom at the El Paso Psychiatric Center where we have hearings statutorily by law. Every 72 hours, if you pick up somebody, the hospital has 24 hours to 48 hours to evaluate and to see if they're going to go forward to commit them and the criteria is danger to self or others. So there are basically 3 things, and we get into trust only when they find that somebody is mismanaging a trust, and we get involved. So that's basically what we do. So it is my pleasure, so if everybody will stand. And if you would be so kind as to raise your right hand, and you repeat after me, okay? I, and all of you state your name, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office as a member of the Board of Directors of the El Paso Central Appraisal District of the state of Texas. And I will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America
Constitution and laws of the United States of America
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So one of our requirements every year is to elect officers. And I've been honored to be the officer, the chairman for the last couple of years. But we have to have officer elections every year. So the floor is now open to nominations for officers.
What are we gonna nominate for first?
First president or chair, or whatever you want to
I would like to nominate you. Again,
Second.
I think you've done a great job, very professional, very compassionate.
Patient,
Doing an excellent job.
knowledgeable.
Any other nominations? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Today, we have a vice chair?
We have a vice chair, a secretary, and then we did a vice secretary.
Our vice chair is Sergio Coronado. One of the things that I really wanted of the officers, and really all of you, is to go to the Texas conventions and to go to the national convention. Sergio just went, and I think he was overwhelmed by, first of all, how well we were received, and secondly, how well we do. And so nominations are open. I cannot nominate, but if somebody would nominate Sergio, I think he's well deserving.
I so nominate.
Second.
Second. Was that illegal? Is that okay for me to
No,
ask?
that was influential.
Okay, is there any other nomination? All in favor of Sergio being the vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And
Thank you very much.
And I think it's very noble, the fact that you've attended these, and the same goes for Shane. I mean, in the beginning, we were having a hard time getting people to show up. Right. And now Shane went to the wonderful one that we had in Denver, and I'm excited that Shane is going to go to Austin as well. Shane also has done a great job as secretary. We've had a hard time getting a secretary to show up when you were chair. We couldn't get a and you have to sign the minutes. So Shane has been there, and he's been there every time. So I hardly think that it would be a good idea to have Shane nominated, but somebody has to.
Nominate him.
Jackie,
Second.
second. Melanie, all in favor? Is there any other nomination? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Is there, who was our,
Jackie is our current vice chair. Y'all created a vice chair
Vice
last year,
secretary.
just vice secretary. So that if the secretary is not here, there would be somebody here that could sign documents.
and I have to tell you, that is extremely beneficial. There's been times, like I say, where the secretary could not be reached and we could not formalize our documents. So I think it's probably a good idea for us to maintain that idea of having a vice secretary or a second assistant secretary.
Someone who knows the job, so if I can nominate.
Somebody who knows the job.
Jackie.
So Jackie, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Could be
Any
good.
other nominations? Shane. Any other nominations? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I didn't mean to railroad that through, but I want to get on to the rest. There are a few things. First of all, do we have any public comment?
Public comment? No, sir, we do
We
not.
don't. There are a couple of things that I just want to give you one bit of advice before we start. In the past, we as a board sit, but in executive session, that is proprietary information that is given to you in executive session, and it's confidential. So we're going to eventually send around a confidentiality agreement for you to sign only on those things that you hear in executive session. If you hear them in a public meeting, obviously they're public and they're open to anybody. You can repeat it, whatever. But if we're in executive session, and you already know this, but I'm just saying it's probably a good idea for us to maintain a file with a confidentiality agreement signed. Also, conflicts of interest. If you know that by serving on this board, obviously you're doing this as a service to the community at large, we are not expecting that you're getting any kind of remuneration from any place. You don't think you are, we don't think you are, but we're asking you to sign a conflict disclosure statement as well. We're not going to do it this meeting. I'm going to send it around for you to look at. And so if you have any issues with them, if you mind passing those over there, then we can discuss it at our next meeting. But at our next meeting, I think we will have a signature on both our confidentiality agreement and our conflict of interest statement.
Wouldn't the second page on this
Is it
suffice.
there? I didn't look at the second
On your
page.
oath?
Yeah.
Where's Rick? Did you give us both pages?
I know.
Oh, so the second page
He's talking
is,
about- he's
so
talking
there's your company.
It's an anti-bribery statement.
Talking about
No, the anti-bribery is not the
Is
same
it different
thing.
from that?
It's a completely
Yeah.
different thing.
Not on this.
No, it wasn't on this. The anti-bribery thing, you have to sign anyway, to
Right.
say that you're not getting any bribes.
Absolutely.
But this is, you may be getting remuneration. Some people may serve, eventually I want to pass this on to the ARB as well. If you serve on the ARB, you cannot be an advocate for somebody who's also applying to the ARB. That would be absolutely wrong. And they make the statement that they aren't doing that, but I'd like to get it in writing and keep it in a file so that we have backup. I'm just preempting.
Yes.
Those of you who've been on the board know that we've had issues in the past, not with this, but with other things that have forced us necessarily to make payouts out of tax money that have killed me. So I'm trying to avoid a problem before it becomes a problem. That's basically what it is. So you'll get the conflict of interest statement later. Maybe we'll email it to you, but you do have this conflict disclosure statement. You'll get your confidentiality agreement later. All right, that's just for information. Okay,
Under public comment, I think Ms. Jimenez would like to say a few words.
I don't want to hear it, something, just ignore
I know
you.
you've been ignoring it.
No, go ahead, make your statement.
So I have been offered a conditional employment offer with the city of El Paso with Representative Maldonado. And if that gets passed, then.
Which it hasn't yet.
It has not, but we're hoping that it does. And
We're
if
hoping
it
that
does, it would be part of a conflict of interest to be serving on this board because they are, the city of El Paso is one of our taxing entities. So therefore, I would have to go ahead and no longer serve as part of this board.
If, for whatever reason, Melanie has to resign, and this would be a good thing for her. It's a great thing for her life, okay, so. But if that happens, then this board has the authority to appoint a replacement for her. So we would be open to nominations. It would be similar to the way we did it before. We'd be open to nominations. It might be recommended from staff or it might come from one of us. And hopefully, if that happens, we'll know in advance. And at our next meeting, we will affirm you or replace you. Okay?
To that end, I'll discuss that in the training, because there's a procedure
There is
for
a
how to handle
procedure.
that. So I'll address that in the training session that we get into later on.
Okay? Any other public comment? That was public comment with you. Okay, so any other public comment? You have in front of you the minutes of our meeting on November 21st, our last meeting of last year. We need
Motion to
to
approve.
approve. Is there
minutes.
a second? Is there any discussion on adjustments, corrections, or additions to those minutes? If not, all in favor say aye to
Aye.
approve them. Any nays?
Who's who seconded
Unanimously
that?
Who
approved.
seconded?
It was here and here. Okay? So if you want to talk a little bit about I know what it is, but
Yes.
if you want to talk a little bit about the Agricultural Advisory Board, what they
Yes.
do, who they are, and how we work.
You bet. So on our Agriculture Advisory Board, that is a board made up of farmers here in the county. Every county, reappraisal district needs to have an Agriculture Advisory Board. And so we have our manager of our residential department sits on that board as a staff member. And she has contacted the existing board members to see if they're willing to stay on. It is part of the tax code. I believe you have that in your backup as to the section of the tax code. And this is something that has to be, the terms are staggered and they're approved by the board. Where they help us is they help us put together our price per row crop, price per orchards, like on the pecans. They work with us on expenses that the ranchers and the farmers have. Cattle, how many cattle per acre, how many, whatever, pigs per acre, whatever is needed. These are the experts in the field, and so they work with our department in coming up with the price per acre that is applied to properties that qualify for agricultural special valuation under the tax code. So the folks that we're asking for the board to reappoint is John Spence. They set their own officers, but for right now, he's serving as the chair. William Thomas, Bill Thomas is serving as the vice chair. Lorenzo Ceballos, senior, he's a member. Jim Ivy is a member, and Leanne Lovelady is a member. Now, they set their own officers, but we're asking for John Spence, William, Bill Thomas, Lorenzo Ceballos, Jim Ivy, and Leanne Lovelady to be reappointed. They've been contacted. They're all willing to serve. They meet once a year. That's all that's required by the tax code. But I will tell you this, between James Thompson, our director of evaluation, and Crystal Pickett, our director of the residential and land department, they get a lot of phone calls from us, and they're always really good to answer us. If for whatever happens during the property value study, there's an issue with the agricultural expenses, they jump right on and get us the information we need to send to the comptroller. So we're recommending that these same members stay on. They cover a wide variety of the county. And if you know anything, I know Mr. Gonzalez, you know a lot of these people. Ms. York, you may know some of these people in dealing with them. Ms. Jimenez, you may know some from the Valley. We go everywhere from row crop to pecans to bees to, we kind of cover the gambit with our members. So we're asking the board to approve our recommendation.
Any questions?
I move that we approve these people for the Ag Board.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Does anybody have any questions? They're very limited. Sadly, our agriculture is shrinking in our county. And more houses are being built and less ags out there. But these are experts. Jim Ivy, I know personally. These guys know what they're doing. So there is a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of approving these people being part of our Ag Board, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimously, they've been
Okay,
approved.
thank you. And we do, if you're ever interested, they help, every year we have to put together a Agriculture Advisory Committee information book, pamphlet, and it has to have, by law, it has to have meet certain criteria and have intensity standards and you name it, we have it. So if you're ever interested, we'll be happy to send it to you. Or you can't sleep, we'll be happy to make sure you guys get one. So we'll make sure you get a copy of it. Yes, sir, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you.
You look at under tab 7, you will see where the Tornillo Independent School District they have to ask us for permission. So they're asking us for permission to protest the tax findings for their district. You can see that they have solicited our request, are asking for our approval. I think you'll explain this a little bit better, maybe?
Yes.
Right. What this is the property value study now. We've already had 6 school districts that we've given, they have passed a resolution, 7, 8, 9, 6, that if we fall out of the confidence level in the state audit, the property value study that the state does, then they're allowing us to come in and submit all the paperwork and file the protest for them. It's just strictly for the property value study that the comptroller does through the appraisal district. The laws have changed that they have to have a resolution to ask us to do it or allow us to do it. And then our board of directors has to have a resolution that yes, you allow us, you accept their request for us to do it, and we can do it. So we had 3 school districts left. We had Tornillo, Fabens, and Canutillo. We received Tornillo's in time to put on the agenda. We just got Fabens today, so we'll put it on the agenda in February and hopefully have Canutillo by then.
So you can expect that all the districts will give us the authority to be able to protest.
And we only handle the property value study. If they have to do any other filings with the comptrollers, they have their own staff, their own attorneys that do that. This is just strictly, and we've met with all of the school districts to reconfirm that it is only for the property value study, the stratification and ratio study that the comptroller's office does to verify values within our county to make sure we are within a confidence level of 95%. And we'll be getting, I was going to talk about this in my director's report, but this is all part of this. By the end of January, they usually send it to us the last day, the last hour. They will give us their final report. And then we have 45 days in which to contest any findings that we think are incorrect. We can send them evidence, just like a protest, like a property owner can protest, we're allowed to do that. And so this now allows us to be able to do that for that school
For
district.
this district. So we need a motion to accept, to allow us to represent them in case there's a finding. Is there a motion to that regard?
To accept the.
Is there a second? Second is over there. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we now represent Tornillo as well as, like I said, it'll happen again for 2 other districts next month, probably. If you look at item number 8, some of you are, the way that this thing got set up last year, really in the last couple of years, there are staggered terms. Some people have 1-year terms, some people have 3-year terms. It's really voluntary. You can get reelected for a second term all the way up to 10 years, I guess.
Correct.
That's the number. So it's not that if you take a 1-year thing, don't worry about it. Hopefully you'll get re-nominated in 3 years, and you'll be in 1 year and you'll get another 3-year term. So, but right now we're determining which members have 1-year terms and which number have 3-year terms. And you can see here what our recommendation was, that Sergio, Shane, Jackie will serve a 1-year term. Is that what you put
Well,
down?
actually, Sergio, because when the votes came in, if I may, I'm sorry.
No, please.
Mr. Chairman. Sergio was appointed for a 3-year and a 1-year, so the 3-year will override. Tanny Berg, Mr. Berg, was the only one that, in the election process, the nomination and the votes, was given a 1-year term by all of the entities. Everybody else was given a 3-year term, but not everybody can be 3 years. So either somebody volunteers for a 1-year term, or we do it by chance. Those of you notice you have a little index card by your name. You need to put your name in there. We've got a drum, and I mean that's however y'all want to do it. Or we
Let's
can,
put it this
you
way.
know,
Would anybody volunteer to do a 1-year term
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
understanding that you can
Yeah.
get renominated
I think
for
so.
10
And
years?
I guess, Joe, you can expand on that a little bit, because I know you're
Are we
dealing
doing
with
this
that.
right? Is what I want.
Yes, you're doing this correctly. The purpose here is because of the makeup change of the CAD board. You've now got elected members via the general election, and you have appointed members, which is very different for y'all. You go through an election process for the appointed officers, and the intent of this is eventually to get everybody to 4-year terms. That's why you see the 1-year term and the 3-year terms. As it staggers out, you will eventually have everybody on 4-year terms. And this is the interim period while we're doing all of this.
So if I took I'm taking the 1-year term so I can get renominated for a 4-year term at the end of this 1 year, right?
So,
Yes.
let me understand that correctly. You have a 1-year term, and then somebody else has another, we need to have somebody else take
One more
a
one.
1,
need
and then the
one
rest
more,
are
2
3.
more.
Right, except for those that are elected, that's under a whole
Yeah, that's a-
different.
The
thing.
elected
We're
ones
just
are
talking
not-
about the appointed ones,
The-
right?
Yes,
the
sir.
So we
appointed.
have
So it's
Tanny 1.
Jackie, me,
Shane, Sergio.
It's on the next
how about
page.
that?
If you go to page 3, you'll see.
Oh, okay,
Flip it
I was wondering where
over.
it was.
Yeah,
Just one page over and you'll see
okay.
the entity
Okay.
votes and
There
the
you go.
terms.
yeah. Do you see so basically we need one
Sergio
more
has a
person to
1 year
do
and I got a 1 year. I need one more person.
So I have a question.
It has to be either Jackie, Shane, or Jack, right? Because everybody else is
Or Sergio.
Well,
Sergio's
Sergio's actually. a
automatic.
3, yeah.
So Sergio's a 3-year automatically.
Well,
Or 1
he's
year.
a 3.
It's a 1 year now and he'll get 4 years.
Well, now he's part of the selection.
Who's
So
got the 3-year term right now? Sergio?
all of you.
No.
No. Shane has a
Automatic
3-year. Sergio has a 3-year. Mr. Loveridge has a 3-year, and Jackie has a 3-year. So those 4. So Shane, Mr. Haggerty, Mr. Coronado, Mr. Loveridge, and Miss York are the 4. Between those 4, somebody needs to
Just
either
one of you
volunteer
say
or we
that
do a
you-
drawing. Or we
So
do a
Tanny,
drawing.
you're automatically 1 year.
I'm
Yes.
thrilled to be 1 year. If I want to go 4 more years, we'll do it at the end of
Okay,
this. year.
where's those cards? I don't
Well-
have any of
Do
them.
we need to go to the cards or will somebody volunteer to be the 1 year?
I think, you know what,
You want to go to the cards?
I'm not gonna say nothing. No, I think we should do the cards automatically.
Okay, so everybody, those of you, those 4, if you'll write your name on the index card, we'll put it in the wheel there.
We'll just
and
pull
we'll
one.
wheel it and send it out.
Someone's just gonna get, unless you want to volunteer, we're just gonna pull one, somebody out.
What are we supposed to do? Just
Put your name on
just
there.
put
Put your
their name
name
on
on
it?
there.
That's it?
Just those 4 people.
Whoever gets pulled out is the 1 year, right?
Yes, whoever gets pulled out will be the one.
But
year.
Sergio's a George Clooney.
Sergio wouldn't be a part of that, right?
Wait, is
Don't
was
write, don't be
Sergio
writing somebody
elected?
else's name on there.
Yeah, you could do that, I guess. But that does not mean,
That's an idea.
again, in 1 year.
That's an
we'll
idea.
go- To reconfirm what Mr. Longoria was saying, in 1 year, we're going back to the entities to reappoint those 1 year and to vote on it. So
And
yeah,
they'll have
that's
4
gonna be
years
a
at that
4
point. At that point,
Right.
you'll have 4 years.
That's going to be a 4 year.
It's just one, just to get us through the year.
Was I supposed
We just gotta get through this, huh?
Was I supposed to put my name on
No.
it?
No.
Mr.
But Sergio-
Longoria, who should?
Yeah, right.
Shane, I thought you wrote Sergio's name on there.
I don't think it makes any difference.
Here, it's just one person. Let Rick pull it out. Rick, just get us a name. And don't worry, you're gonna get reappointed before your term at the end. I can assure you, but, okay, who do you have?
Okay, I'll let the chairman.
And the winner in Zacatecas, Nuevo Mexico is Joe Longoria. Congratulations.
Did not even know I had that.
Oh,
Wrote your
Jackie.
name on there.
Jackie. Okay, so Jackie and I will have 1 year terms as well as Sergio. And then at the end, it'll,
No, Sergio's 3 year.
who's won? Me, Jackie, and who?
Just you and
Just those
Jackie.
two.
It's
Okay,
only
just me
these
and
two.
Jackie. So the city. But Renard and I are friends, so I'm not really worried about next year either. Except maybe we'll get reappointed, which could be the worst thing that happen. All right. Going back to our agenda, thank you for that. You can see that we're on item number 9, and we have our taxpayer liaison. She will give us her report. Might want to introduce yourself to the new board members.
Good evening, Board of Directors. My name is Tracy Carter. I am the Taxpayer Liaison Officer. So far in January, I want to let you all know that we have not received any complaints from any of the property owners. So there's no comments or
Good news.
suggestions, so it's good. The list of ARB members for 2025 has already been posted on the EPCAD website, so if you would like to view it, or if anybody would like for me to send you all a copy, I'd be more than happy to. The Appraisal Review Board will be in session January 21st through the 23rd to hear motions to correct the late protest. And the State Comptroller's Office will be providing 2 days of ARB training and also taxpayer liaison training. The training will be done by virtual session or by pre-recorded video. And I'll let you all know when it's going to be because I know some of the board of directors are interested in attending. And I am excited about the TAAD conference that you all will be attending. We learned so much from there. But that is all. Does anybody have any questions?
So I do want to make you aware, I mean, Eddie knows and I know and Sergio, Jackie knows for sure. When we started, and we've been doing this like for 3 or 4 years now. When we started, it was hard getting people to even apply for the ARB. We would have 30 positions and we only got 22 people to apply. We have, at a time where we really needed more ARB members and we took it up to 35, 38, then 40, then 45. We were worried because we thought, well, we're going to get up to 45 and you're still not going to have people to apply. Well, we got more people to apply than we had positions. So you as board members might be confronted by somebody who said, look, I applied, but I didn't get appointed. Well, we could only appoint 45. That was all we had. And there were many qualified people above the 45. I think we had 52 or 54 that actually applied, and they were qualified. But we could only pick 45. So we just picked the first 40, or we picked 45 out of the people. And I don't want people who didn't get appointed, especially if they're watching, to feel like for whatever reason they were qualified, we didn't like them. It was just we could only pick 45. And so you as board members need to be aware of the fact that there are now 45 members of the ARB. There were more applicants than we had positions. I think that Tracy did an incredible job of getting it. And we had a committee, a subcommittee, who did an incredible job of really vetting through the applicants. And we thank that committee again. We did last meeting, we will again this meeting. But I want people to be aware of the fact that once we got past 45, we had to let some people become alternates because we were already at 45. So does that,
That's correct. That is correct, Mr. Berg.
so some people may not know what a taxpayer liaison officer is. So you might want to quickly say, Tracy, in 13 seconds or less, what your job is and what you do.
What I do here is I'm a bridge between the property owners and the Central Appraisal District. So if they have property owners come in and they have questions on their values, what they can do to bring it down, I'll guide them up to the third floor so that way they can know they can protest the value and everything they need to bring in to protest. They also come in with they would like their homestead exemption, the over 65 exemption, 100% disabled veteran exemptions. So I'll go and I'll guide them through the steps on what they need to do to get those exemptions. I also help with the appraisal review board. I am the secretary to the board of directors. I collect all the applications to that, and I'll set up all the appointments. I also send all the complaints that we receive or any suggestions. I send that to the state comptroller's office every year, and I report that to the board every time I receive one. So when I do receive a complaint, I will follow up on it. I'll talk to the property owner. I'll talk to the people that were involved, and I'll come and I'll make my report to the board of directors. on that.
Tracy is an employee of the board, and she reports to the board. Although certainly she has a great relationship with Dinah, and the relationship between the Central Appraisal District and the Appraisal Review Board is a good one. But up until now, we had a different procedure, and I think Joe will go over that. But at the end of the day, Tracy's job is to report to the board, not to the Appraisal District, to the board. And so she does give us whatever complaints she gets, and it was great to hear that she got none, so that was a good thing. But Tracy reports to the board, and are there any questions? Does anybody have an issue? She is a phenomenal representative of the community to the individual. She's like an ombudsman for the people who come here with a complaint. Sometimes they can't speak English, they're worried, they're nervous. She helps them through the process, guides them through. She doesn't make the decision for them, but she gets them through the process so that they feel comfortable that they've been represented well, and that we're not up here and they're down here and we're looking down on them. She makes the playing field even.
One of the main things she does during the summer is the comptroller has a Survey Monkey type situation, and we have computers set up where we have our formal hearings on the third floor. And so when a property owner is done with their hearing, she tries to get them to fill out the survey, and those surveys go to the comptroller's office. The comptroller then, after so many months, we get the taxpayer liaisons get the report back from all the counties, and they do a percentage of there's questions on there. Do you feel like you were heard? Was there enough time? That type of thing. And so she helps them, the property owners, get on the computer and be able to fill out the survey. We're not allowed to do that, so that's the liaison's job to do that. And she is number 2, only behind Houston as the top number of surveys. So she does a really diligent effort to get the property owners to fill out those surveys, and they do help the ARB and us. So
What's really cool about Tracy is she actually served on the ARB, and she knows what she's doing, and she knows what it feels like to be on the ARB. She also knows what it's like to be a taxpayer and to come before the ARB and ask for a review. So she gives that perspective from both sides on how to best represent the community as a whole. We represent the community, and that's our representative is Tracy. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Chief Appraisal Officer, for those of you who don't know, is the CEO of the Appraisal District. We are beyond lucky to have, in my opinion, not just on a state level, certainly on a local level, but not just on a state level, but on a national level, one of the best chief appraisal officers in the country. She's been recognized as such, but more importantly, in the time that I've been here, she has proven herself over and over and over again that her commitment is to the citizens of El Paso. And so I'm very, very honored to be working all of us should be working side by side with Dinah. So
that goes me too, ditto, and our staff, that expression of you've got to have a village to raise someone. Well, that's how it is here, all of us. And so, for me and my staff and all the appraisers that are here, thank you guys for serving on the board. There's been many boards where they've, actually said we don't care about staff. There's been many boards that the staff didn't even know who they are. So
Boards
we've-
here in El Paso, she's
yes,
talking about.
yes,
locally.
here in El Paso. So we've really worked really hard with the last couple of boards to have staff members be able to feel comfortable to come in and sit in and listen to it. We have staff members that'll watch it on YouTube because we're on YouTube, So we want that I don't know if you call it a camaraderie, but so that y'all know who we are, and that's why we do the anniversaries. We started that a few years ago so that you as board members could get to meet some of our staff and see some of the longevity that we have here. So thank you very much. So in my report, we talked a little bit about the property value study. They sent out a clerical error listing in December, which we responded to. That's just a basic report that they say if you see any errors, go ahead and correct them. We'll get the final actual stratification and ratio study the end of January. We'll have 45 days. Now, in February or March, probably March, we have to come to the board, which we were already doing, and give you a report of what the study showed. So in March, we'll be handing out the draft budget. And then in April, we'll do our budget workshop. And then in May, we approve the budget. I'll be working with Mr. Berg on committees. So in February, we'll get a budget committee going so that y'all can review the draft budget. And that has to go out to the entities before the 15th of March, and we always meet after that. But in March, we'll give out the budget, and then we should have a report that we can bring to the board in March that tells you where we are in the value study, what the ratio numbers were, what we're trying to do, what we're submitting to the comptroller's office, or if everything is within confidence level, again, we'll give you a report showing you all the different school districts. There's 9 school districts here, so there's 9 reports. There's one for each school district, and each school district has to be at 95% of market. So we'll be working on that. We had a meeting today with the city tax office. The last week of January, they have a mobile unit that will be parked out. We've been doing this for several years now to assist the taxpayers. And so we'll have a mobile unit that last week of January, and they will be able, property owners will be able to pay their taxes here that last week of January. The city council has approved this every year. They have to approve it. That usually happens before the end of the year that we get that approval. So we had our meeting today. Tracy and some of my staff will be helping with the lines. We had a drop box that was dropped off on the 14th so that property owners, if they already have a check ready to go and they have their bill, Tracy or my staff downstairs can help them fill out the envelope, put it in the drop box, and then the tax office will come and pick those up. So we're trying to do as much as we can. I talked to Ms. Pasillas, the city tax assessor collector, and next year we're going to look at getting a drop box at the time the bills go out in October. So we can have that drop box here for October, November, December, and January. Because we have a lot of people that come in. We also tell them the county tax office there at Ascarity, they also will take payments. They don't take credit cards. We don't take credit cards here. It's cash, cashier's check, a check. And you'd be surprised how many people come with, a paper bag of cash. So we have our officers here. Our police officers are aware. They were part of our meeting. And, of course, they have security guard that comes with them. So it was a very good meeting. We're ready to go. John Banda, our head of our building maintenance, has already talked to them about their needs for power. We don't charge them anything. And so we've got the power for them to be able to run. So that's taking place the end of January, the last week, the last 5 days. And then, of course, the drop box is now, and we can help them with that. Education, the appraisers, there's required education. We've been busy. We've already had 3 classes. We've got 4 classes plus a review scheduled in January to mid-February of required courses that they have to have. So next month in February, We'll have our audit will be ready from our outside auditor. So we'll have that audit. We'll get you all of that information prior to the board meeting. We try to send it to you a week before, so you've got the weekend and a week to review it. So that'll be going out. Ms. Goldman and her staff in the county is working with Mena and Associates to finish, not the same Mena, to finish the outside audit. But we'll have that report ready for you in February. March, again, will be the property value study report and then the handout of the budget. And if we have time, we'd like some of our staff members to come up and give you an idea of what we're looking at going into 2025 protests. And then April will be our workshop. And again, it's every third Thursday. The third Thursday of every month is when our board, when you guys meet. And then in May, you'll approve our budget, and it goes to the entities. They have 30 days, and then by July it takes effect. So for the next year, and that's kind of all I've got. Oh, one more thing, we are working with Mr. Longoria. Rick Medina and Mr. Longoria are working on procedures for, since you the board now appoints the ARB members. We're working on procedures where if there is a complaint about an ARB member, or an ARB member is not showing up, attendance requirements, and we'll get those so that y'all can meet with whether Mr. Berg would like the same committee or whether do it as a group with the chairman on those rules or those procedures, policies that you'd like to put in. So hope to have something for the board to, this board to review at the February meeting. Okay, and that's it.
So in line with that, thank you. Any questions of the Chief Appraisal Officer?
Just to mention something,
Sure.
Mr. Chair. And Dinah, you might want to tell them that the ARB members previously, they didn't have a code of conduct. We installed that now in the people that we are hiring because they are now being hired by the board. It used to be just by the presiding judge. I think this is a better process. That's one of the good things the legislature did. And there's some other things, obviously, that we can talk when the training is going on. That's what's happening in Austin about.
Probably the
the
same
elected
ARB
positions.
committee that will continue, because we're still here. And so that same ARB committee will continue with the same,
So
because they've already started the agenda. Let's go ahead and let
So
them
the
continue.
ARB members now have a code of conduct that they have to follow. That was
Fantastic.
established and vetted by our lawyers.
Right. And that was set up by the committee. So what we'll probably do is, when we come up with recommendations for some of the other procedures, is vet them through the committee, and then y'all can bring them to the board for the board to approve. We'll
think-
continue to follow that.
I think that's a good idea because we were the ones that hired that ARB board, so they know us. And if something does happen, like Sergio said, we're the ones that implemented the code of conduct. They did sign it. They are in agreement, and I know that there was some issues last year with some of the board members, ARB board members, but I think that this year is going to be totally different. I really think that we have a great ARB board on board now.
I agree. What I was I want you to know, in the time that Eddie was the chair, the time that Walter was the chair, but since I've been here, we've never had 100% attendance at one of our meetings. So
Right?
thank you
Oh
all.
my God.
Because we have 100% attendance of everybody who's on this board. But I do think we ought to be thinking in terms, just like Dinah said about attendance at ARB, I think we need to be thinking in terms of some kind of ramification if you don't attend 3 consecutive board meetings or 2. We only get 12 meetings a year, guys. And you can't do a lot of change, 11. And you can't make a lot of change if you're not coming up to 3 of those 11. So I think we ought to be thinking in terms of also implementing a rule of attendance at our meetings, and if somebody should miss 2 or 3, for whatever reason. I mean, 2 or 3 in a row means 3 months in a row. Unless you're in the hospital and you are having operations, we even allow you to call in. You can call in and participate online, and we get people who don't do that.
I think
That's as long as we have a quorum here.
Right.
Right, you have to have a
Yes,
quorum
yes,
here.
yes, we have to have a quorum present.
I think I know last year we canceled some meetings because
We couldn't
couldn't
get a
get a
quorum.
quorum, and that's probably Jack and Ruben. You're probably like, well, what kind of a board am I? my aunt, but no, it's a great board. It really is. And like, I can attest because I've been on this board since 2019. But we have our hiccups, and people get complacent. I think they get complacent towards the end of the year, and just life gets in the way. We have commitments, and they don't show up. But like I was telling you, we had to cancel some boards, and it's very important that you guys show up because you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that need to get approved.
Would you recommend a workshop where we go
And
over?
it's out of respect to the rest
That's
of
what
us.
he's gonna do.
And so,
It's out of respect to the rest of us.
My
If you've got
question-
6 showing up and you don't, well, it's out of respect to everybody, including our staff. So it's disrespectful not to
I
be.
guess my question is to you, Mr. Longoria, you're the attorney. Are we even allowed to do that, to take a board member off
There's
after
a-
3 missing?
There's a question as to whether or not that can be done, because you now have 2 categories of board members. Elected board members who are elected in a general election. I do not think that a board can remove a duly elected member.
Even if they never show up.
They never show up. I do not believe they can do that. I've started doing the research on that because this is an issue. With regard to the administrative matters of an appointed member, the question is still there as to whether or not there can be a policy to remove a board member for any particular reason, such as absences. You can do that for ARB members.
Right.
But I am looking as to whether this board has the authority to.
Now, fraud, there are procedures
Yeah,
for removing somebody, say, for fraud or
Correct.
for action.
there's some statutory procedures, some
Right.
statutory reasons for removal of a board member. But with regard to whether just excessive absences falls into one of those categories, I'm still doing the research, and I will report back to the
It
board.
won't
on that.
happen here because you guys are going to show up.
We're all gonna show
Good
up,
to
right,
you.
guys?
So that was something that I also wanted to make a comment about. The board was structured very differently before, and therefore
Very.
there were so many more members,
Very.
and being able to get a quorum was a lot harder. And now with us being elected representatives and then the appointed, it's not the same as it used
I
to be.
agree
So
with
while we used to have 6, 7 board members to be able to meet quorum, now it's a lot less.
We need 5 or 6,
Five.
5, right? Good.
5.
Easy.
But isn't there a caveat or whatever the word is, where there were 2 nominating entities for me? So if I missed 3 board meetings, could a letter, a strongly worded letter be
I
sent to those
did
nominating?
send, I sent that to
Those
That was
KPI.
That happened
They're the ones
last
that
year.
It's not going to happen anymore. I can't do that anymore.
That
But
was
I did
before
have that.
because one entity appointed you and actually appointed you. Now, multiple entities nominate and multiple entities vote.
But isn't it the nominating one that can request a repeal?
They can reappoint somebody else.
Yes, yes.
They can request
Yeah.
a
Miss
recall.
3 meetings, maybe a letter can be sent out saying your nominee has been,
Absolutely.
We
We have
did
to
that
send it to all of the entities.
Because
Because they all voted.
They all voted.
They all
by way of
voted.
background, recall, this board has operated under what's known as the 3-quarter rule since 1982, which meant that individual taxing units appointed their own representatives. Most of the other appraisal districts in the state conducted with the statutory election, where every single taxing unit nominated, and there was a ballot with nominees on there, and then everybody voted for that, much like an election. So y'all are now doing the statutory election. That's why a single entity cannot just simply say, we want you off. Can the district send a letter, complaining about, absences? Yes, they can. But the way to remove somebody from this board is by way of a recall. And that means everybody's gonna have to have notice of that.
We're not going to miss. You guys are going to show up. I'm not worried.
No, this is a good group. Thank you so much.
We're a good group. All right. So any other questions? Yes.
No, it's okay, we already got it.
Did I text you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Shane got it. Okay, good. Any other questions of Dinah? All right. I don't believe we have any reason to go into executive session.
No, sir, we do not.
So number 11 isn't necessary. I guess what we'll do is we will ask for adjournment.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
we can go into
Training.
our training session.
Move to adjourn.
Usually our meetings will run an hour. This meeting may run a little bit longer because Joe is very verbose. But other than that, Our meetings generally run 1 hour. Is there a motion to
And
adjourn?
sometimes less.
Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One person, Melanie wants to
You
say.
gotta say 6:01.
What time?
Time is exactly 6 on the nose. 6 o'clock.